Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday night, September 2nd, I think, live stream for studentloanjustice.org. My name is Alan Collins. I'm the founder of Student Loan Justice. We've been around for 15 years, folks. We are the only citizens group I'm aware of at significant size actually, truly fighting for student loan justice. You know, hearing about loan cancellation plans in the media from all the presidential candidates. And I'm here to tell you, all the loan cancellation plans we're hearing about, except for ours, are nonsense. They'll never work. So we started a petition on change.org a few months ago calling for an executive order canceling student loans. It's the only way these loans are going to actually go away. We cannot depend on Congress to pass anything meaningful by way of loan cancellation. Don't believe what you read in the press. And by the way, speaking of the press, we need more press for this petition. We've been featured already on Fox News Radio, on C-SPAN twice, although those were call-in. That was a call-in thing. Minnesota Progressive Radio, Coast to Coast AM, FM, I don't know, a national radio show. We've done many other radio shows, and we've been interviewed by many of the bigs. But we need more press coverage, folks. The media should be our friends. Remember, if you forget everything I say tonight, it's a failed lending system. And those aren't my words. Those are the words, basically, of Donald Trump's appointee, Wayne Johnson. He ran the federal lending program for 7 months. Then he quit. He said, whoa, I'm out of here. And by the way, we need widespread loan cancellation, and we need to return bankruptcy protections to student loans. So I'm going to try and keep this live stream tonight quick. If you have any questions or comments, I'm happy to respond to them in situ. Some news today. A lot of people think it's a big deal, but I'm telling you it's not. Some couple in Colorado was able to get their loans, their private student loans, discharged in bankruptcy. I'm not going to talk about this too much longer, folks, but simply to say, we've been doing this for 15 years, folks. We know the nonsense, and we know what's not nonsense. This is another nonsense news story. So every year, one, maybe two stories will be seeded in the media about someone or another who got their loans discharged in bankruptcy court. Well, let me tell you what the facts are, folks. On any given year, there's roughly 170,000 people who file for bankruptcy and have student loans. Of those, typically fewer than 20, like 0.01% or something, actually get even a partial discharge. This is just another one of those cases. No precedent is set. The law remains terrible. This one line of federal code remains in the federal code. 11 U.S. Code 523 parentheses A parentheses 8. And as long as this one line of federal code is sitting there, there will be this special burden that people need to go through in order to get their loans discharged. And it's almost impossible to get it. You might catch a judge on a good day and he gives you a break, but I'm telling you, folks, that's no news. You know, it's frankly too late to return bankruptcy protections to student loans, in my opinion. They could return bankruptcy protections to student loans tomorrow, and all that would accomplish is ushering like 10, 15, maybe even 20 million or more people into bankruptcy. You know, in a given year, only about 1 million people nationally file for bankruptcy on all kinds of debt, on every kind of debt. So, do we really want to do that to our citizens? No, folks. This is a failed lending system. Even before the coronavirus, 80% of all borrowers were either unable to make payments or they were paying and their balances were going up. This is a failed, nationally threatening lending system. The loans have to be canceled. And to that end, folks, I just want to throw that out there, It is a failed lending system. The citizens need to rise up. We are considering going to Boston Harbor at some point, burning our loan papers and throwing the ashes in the drink. What do you think about that? I'm curious to hear any comments, questions you might have. It's time to do this. In fact, it's past time. In fact, we probably should have done this 5 years ago. But now we have all the data we need to prove to anyone that this is a failed lending system. So now is the time, folks. Maybe before the election, maybe after the election. I don't know. And to those of you who are new, let me just say welcome. We're glad that you're here. Sorry if I'm talking in shorthand tonight and a lot of this stuff is going over your head, but it's time to cancel student debt. Hey, Crispin Clean. Crispin Clean knows it is time to cancel student debt. You know, the founding fathers are looking down on us, I suspect, and they're going, how did our citizens get so weak? How could they let themselves be conquered and enslaved by debt incurred for going to college? That's the most ridiculous thing in the world. And believe me, folks, the founding fathers were no dummies. Like them or hate them. They got one thing right. When they wrote the Constitution, they called for uniform bankruptcy laws ahead of the power to declare war. You know, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Robert Morris, they were being skewered under debt to British banks and merchants. John Adams himself said there are two ways to conquer and enslave a country. One is by the sword, the other is by debt. And this student loan fiasco, this student loan catastrophe, this student loan sabotage that we find ourselves under is precisely what the founders wanted to avoid. So they're looking down on us and saying, how have you not thrown this debt off your backs already? You know, if we were back down there, we would have canceled this lending system by popular consent. And oh, by the way, we would have tarred and feathered the scoundrels that tried to foist this scam upon us. I'm sure that's what they'd be saying. And that's what we need to do, folks. It's time to get rid of this lending system. By popular consent, yes. But officially, these loans need to be canceled. You know, this could have a good outcome, bad outcome. The bad outcome is it takes years or even decades to get any meaningful changes in the law to actually get these loans canceled. The bad guys, that is the student loan swamp, all the people making money on this right now today, the thieves, these scoundrels, these bottom-feeding scum that are making your life and my life so hard, will up the ante. They'll start suing people en masse. The federal government may even start sending federal marshals to people's homes to arrest them. And I know that sounds just ridiculous, but I'm here to tell you, folks, that's already begun to happen. 5 years ago in the state of Texas, in this one little podunk federal district, they started literally arresting people who had defaulted loans. So I won't get into the details, but to say that the last I checked, this podunk little federal district in Texas had plans on arresting like 1,500 people in and around Houston. So we don't want that ending, folks. We don't want it. There's no reason for it. We have got an army larger than all the armies on earth, and navies and air forces and Marines combined. You know, there are 55 million people in the country with student loans or who are co-signed on them. 44 million of these people will never be able to pay. They're losing sleep over their loans, and they vote. So think about that, folks. We've got a massive, unflexed muscle. We need to get everybody we can with student loans onto this group. If you know 5 people with student loans, 4 of them are freaking out about them, whether they admit it to you or not. We've got to break that silence, guys. We've got to pop that bubble of stigma or whatever you call, whatever it is that's holding you back from fighting this fight. You need to offload it right now because these are your loans. This is your problem. We are in the right, morally, constitutionally, ethically. The founders are on our side. So I don't know what's holding you all back, but you need to get over it and get over it quick. You know, we've got an election in 2 months here. If we get lucky and we work super hard, we could get an executive order canceling these loans by November 3rd. If we try. You know, I happen to know that people in the very highest strata of both the Biden campaign and the Trump administration know about our call, our plea, our demand for an executive order, in the case of Trump, or a pledge for an executive order to cancel all federally owned student loans. That's 85% of all student loans, by the way. So you probably have federally owned student loans. Hey, Crispin Clean also says, but now we've been villainized borrowers. People come at us telling us we deserve it for trying to better our lives. Our candidates aren't giving us many options to vote in favor of the student loan borrowers. We need to rise. You know, you are preaching to the choir, Crispin. I salute you. You are absolutely right. Don't worry about being villainized, folks. We are the good guys in this fight. This is not a bad borrower problem. This is a bad lending system. Now, the swamp creatures out there who are our opposition, they love to feed cultural zeitgeist, pre-existing attitudes out there. Like when people even think about college students, the first thing they think is, oh yeah, I got really drunk when I was in college, and spring break and kegers and blah 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 blah, and oh, the irresponsible students, and they automatically take this paternalistic tone. Dudes, that's out the window. Listen to me. There are 55 million people in the country with student loans. 44 million of them are screwed. Now, have the people changed? Have we all of a sudden become just a bunch of irresponsible ne'er-do-wells since, say, the 1970s? No. The citizens have probably gotten, certainly the student loan borrowers, have probably gotten a little more responsible since the 70s, I would guess. The people have not changed. We are as responsible, irresponsible as we've ever been. What has changed is the lending system behind everything. It is predatory. It is unconstitutional. It is a big government lending scam. So anybody who comes up to you and starts wagging their fingers, number one, they usually consider themselves to be conservatives. Yet here they are, and in wagging their fingers at you, all they are accomplishing is defending and perpetuating the worst big government lending scam this country has ever seen. Now, this lending system is used to throw $100 billion a year at the colleges. Now, whether you like the colleges or hate the colleges, the fact of the matter is the people wagging their finger at you probably hate the colleges because in their view, the colleges are indoctrinating the youth and turning them all into communists and socialists, whatever the case may be. So the people wagging their fingers at you are being idiotic tools. They are being played by big government and played by the very colleges that they claim to despise. Shame on them. You should tell them that and say, shame on you. You're burying your own fellow citizens under this big government lending monstrosity, and you're feeding the colleges that you claim to hate. And oh, by the way, some of the government profits from the lending system are being used to fund Obamacare. Now again, we take no position on Obamacare. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't care. I don't have a position on that. Our group takes no position on that. But the people wagging their fingers at you almost always hate Obamacare. So you may want to throw that little tidbit in their face as well. And usually the last thing I will say to those people after shutting them up, I tell them to turn their conservative cards in. Because they're not conservative, they're a fake conservative. And in fact, they are fighting for exactly the opposite of that. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. Turn their conservative cards in. They've been played for a fool, and they don't even know it. That usually sends them packing. And by the way, you can find a video on Fox News with Tucker Carlson talking to Wayne Johnson. You can Google that and find the YouTube video, where Wayne Johnson is saying almost exactly what I'm saying, and Tucker is agreeing with him. So shove that in their face. Say, if you don't want to believe me, hear it from the Trump appointee who ran the federal lending system, talking to Tucker about it, you douchebag. And sorry if I'm being a little emotional here, but I get so sick of these knee-jerk, fake conservatives who think they know everything, and they come in to scold us, the victims of this big government lending scam. I'm done with it. I'm through. you need to throw it right back between their eyeballs. Don't let them intimidate you. Don't let them discourage you. Don't let them take your argument from you. We have the strong argument. We have the conservative argument, by the way. But for the fact that Congress has been so corrupted and the Republicans in Congress are so absolutely terrible, up to and right now, including President Trump, hey, that's not our problem, folks. There are conservatives outside of Congress, from the Cato Institute to George Mason University, to even people within the highest echelons of the Trump administration, believe it or not, who agree with us. So, okay, folks, I promised I would keep it short tonight. The petition is the number one thing we have to push. Right now, we've got like 565,000 signatures. We should have, and we could have, 1 million signatures by this time tomorrow. If everybody who has signed the petition, which you can see linked here or here, gets even one other person to sign, we would be at 1 million. There's 1 million ways to get to 1 million signatures. And I'm telling you, folks, it's kind of a magic number. If we can get to 1 million, we can get to 2 million. If we get to 2 million, we can get to 4 million. It really kind of builds off itself. So, and we are the pioneers on that. We should have 44 million people in this group. We should have 44 million signatures on our petition. We don't have that right now. We have like 600,000 people, and that's enough to make it count. But you out there, you watching me, you've got to help. I'm not kidding you, folks. We've been doing this for 15 years. I know what works. I know what doesn't work. And I know that if we can get up to 1 million signatures quickly, I'd love to get it done within the next week. It will build off itself. We'll get media exposure, more media exposure. We'll get more media exposure. Still, pretty soon, all of a sudden, we could have 15 or 20 million people on this petition. And at that point, we win. At that point, there is nothing anybody can do to keep this lending system alive even one more year. And as I said, folks, it is a true possibility that we could get these loans canceled by Election Day, by November 3rd. We could see an October surprise. But it all depends on how hard you work to make it that way. Getting everybody to sign the petition is just one thing. Pasting the link to the petition in 100 or 200 or 500 or 1,000 places where people with student loans might see it helps tremendously. Calling a news organization, telling them to report on this petition is extremely helpful. And you don't have to do the interview. We can do all the talking. You can just point them to us. You can give them our phone number, 202-594-1120. Give them our email address, justice@studentloanjustice.org. Give them my name, Alan Collins, whatever you need to do. You don't have to answer all the tough questions. We can do that. We've been sharpening this sword, this knife, for this blade for many years now. We can do all the heavy lifting, but you have to set them up so we can knock them down. We'll go on Rush Limbaugh, we'll go on Rachel Maddow, and anywhere in between. Quite frankly, I prefer to go on the conservative shows. I like to go into the lion's den and set those people straight. You'd be surprised. I've never had a conversation with a conservative of goodwill and good faith from which we walked away still disagreeing. In other words, I have convinced every good-faithed conservative in honest debate that this is precisely what needs to happen. At a minimum, bankruptcy protections must be returned to student loans. But really, as I said, it's kind of too late for bankruptcy. So these loans have got to go. Whether it's this president or the next, this lending system is indeed toast. So whatever you can do, we are the pioneers on this. We've got to punch a little bit above your weight. As corny as it may sound, the country actually needs you on this. So shake off the stigma, grab your battle rattle, put on your boots, and help us get this thing done. Twitter also is maybe useful. We haven't gotten anything out of it yet, but even tweeting our petition to famous people and imploring them to retweet the petition or whatever, that also helps. So, but there's a million things you can do. We're all here not idiots. We're all functioning human beings. We're all at least smart enough to get into college, right? We've all got special skills, unique talents and abilities, etc. We can get this thing done by November 3rd, folks. So let's aim high and let's get it done. And keep us posted as to your progress. We love to brag. On any given day, 200 or more people are actually doing stuff to help us fight. We need to up that. We need to get that up to 22,000 or even 20,000 people a day actually helping. These are your loans. This is your problem. And the one thing we have learned is that when you do nothing, then nothing happens that's good. If we sit back, wait, watch, and worry and expect these loans to go away, we're going to be waiting a long time, the rest of our lives. Don't do that. The bad guys want you to do exactly that. The bad guys want nothing more than for you to just assume that somebody else is pulling your weight for you. They're not. There is no Superman. There's only us. We are all we've got. But at the same time, folks, we're all we need. So take some heart. And, I've never been more optimistic than I am right now in the 15 years of doing this. Right now, we are in, by far, the best position we've ever been in. So take some heart. Let's build on the momentum and let us become that unstoppable force and get these loans gone. Not written down, no middle ground, gone, finito, done. Out of our minds so we can move on with our lives as the founding fathers intended. Good luck, Godspeed, keep us posted, and God bless. Peace. Oh, and please donate if you can. Yeah, please donate. We need it. Okay, bye.